Buongiorno tutti! I am reporting to you live from the city of Sestri Levante, very close to Genova in northern Italy. Robert and I arrived yesterday to Milano, where we thought we were going to spend the weekend with his mom, my beautiful mother-in-law, because she lives there for work. But instead, she surprised us with a really nice trip here to the seaside, which is very much appreciated because we live in Brussels, which has no sea. Milan has no sea. So instead of a city weekend getaway, we're here at the beach. Yay! And it's a weekend of celebration because last Saturday I had my birthday. Today is her actual birthday. So we celebrated in fashion by having a few too many bottles of wine at dinner and staying up until the wee hours, way past my bedtime. But that's okay, because we're in Italy. And we're on vacation, so ça va. I don't know what the plan is for today. We're definitely gonna do as much as we can to celebrate this beautiful woman, because she's very special and she deserves it. I think we're in for a good weekend together. First things first, though, is I need to hydrate my body, put some food in there, start the day fresh as a cucumber. Andiamo. So in the end, the three of us decided to rent a boat to explore the surrounding port cities and enjoy a picnic at sea. As I was saying earlier, a goal of this trip was to celebrate my wonderful mother-in-law, Renata. I've been fortunate to have her in my life for the past 9 years, and I deeply cherish our relationship. She and Robert are Czech. If you're not familiar, the Czech Republic is a small nation in Central Europe that has a rich history, delicious beer, and a peculiar language. Before moving to Belgium, I lived in Prague, its capital city, for 4 years. The city holds a special place in my heart because it gave me my husband, Robert, and tested my passion for language learning. I spent a great deal of time, tears, and effort to learn Czech, and to date, it has to be one of the best decisions I have ever made. There's something truly magical about speaking to another in a foreign language. To be able to articulate your thoughts through a different lens and with different references is no easy feat. And that's what makes it so damn rewarding when you do succeed. And there's another layer to this. When you speak to someone you love in their native language, that's a real drug. I still remember the first time I made Robert laugh in Czech, and it was one of my proudest moments, and I've been chasing that rush ever since. And maybe you've had a similar experience. When you make a reference or a joke that only someone from that part of the world understands, it's like you're getting a glimpse behind the curtain. It allows you to not only deepen relationships, but also expand your perspective. To understand someone fully, I think, is a kind of love. And I don't see any downside to adding more of that into our lives. I'd be really curious to know what lessons, good and bad, studying a foreign language have given you. Feel free to drop a comment down below. Aspetta. Buongiorno tutti! I'm back in Milano now, the last day in this quick weekend getaway. I wanted to go into the center to show some of the beautiful stuff there, like Il Duomo and La Galleria. But then I thought, you know what? I'm only here for 2 days, and I live in a city, in Brussels, and I don't really need more city time. Plus, there's a bunch of that kind of content already here online. So I thought I would do as the Italians do and have a relaxing day. It's beautiful, it's sunny. I want to go to the park and just soak up as much Italian time as I can before heading back this evening to Brussels. I have given myself one little errand today, which is to pick up some guanciale, some pork cheek, and some fresh Parmesan, and stuff my suitcase with as much of them as possible before I head home. There's an expression in Italian that I'm reminded of in moments like this, which is il dolce fare niente, which means the sweetness of doing nothing. I think that's a really important skill to just enjoy being. And when I look around, Italians seem to be real masters of this. They're really maybe the original yogis of just enjoying the present. Of course, it helps when you have the scenery that Italy has. but it's Monday afternoon at about 1 p.m. here in the park, and people are just chilling. Some people are reading, some people are talking, some are sunbathing, but they all seem to have mastered that dolce fare niente. They're doing niente. And this is something I touched on a little bit in my last video about Brussels, which is when traveling, I know that there's this big temptation to see a lot of the main attractions, but I think there's something really sweet in just witnessing how people in that country live and maybe combining that with the things that you already enjoy. So I love being in green space. I don't think I'm unique at all in saying that. I mean, I think humans are just complicated plants. We need sunlight, we need nature, we need food and water. Combining those new sceneries with the things that I enjoy. That way you get the best of both worlds. You get to see the new thing, you get to experience things that you may not have at home, but you still get that grounding familiarity of the things that you enjoy. The last stop in our Milan city tour brings us to the delicatessen Eataly. This is a chain with locations all over Italy and a few in the US. It's a mecca for artisanal Italian products ranging from cured meats to wine and fresh produce. The variety and quality are inspiring. Whenever we come to Italy to visit Renata, I always take home a few specialties here that are hard to come by in Brussels. On this day, I got a chunk of guanciale, pork cheek, to make carbonara, 18-month aged Parmesan, and a few sweet treats to share with friends. I consider myself a humble home cook, still with a lot to learn, but being in a store like this fills me with culinary inspiration. It seems difficult to mess up a dish when the base ingredients are this good. Ciao for now, Eataly. Alright, dear friends, before we wrap up this lovely weekend in Italy together, I'd like to leave you all with my top tips for traveling light. For the last 10 years now, I have been traveling exclusively with a carry-on because I think that there's great freedom in traveling light, bringing only that which you really need. And I think that there's a little science to it, which I have boiled down to about 4 or 5 tips that I'm going to share with you today. Now, of course, there is one little caveat to this, which is that it depends greatly on where you're going and what time of year it is, for which season you're packing. However, the tips that I'm going to share will apply whether you're going in summer or winter. The first tip is to choose a color palette. Make sure that all of the clothes that you bring are able to be mixed and matched and still look good together. So for this trip, I chose neutrals, white, beige, gray, black, and then green and blue. The shoes that I had matched with all of the outfits, and I was able to go from day to night quite easily. Next up, imagine pieces that can be worn in a few different situations. So if you know that you like to work out, for example, pack neutral looking workout clothes that can be worn underneath other things if you're touring the city, i.e. a white top or black leggings. These things can be reworked to suit another setting. Tip number 3 has to do with actually packing the bag. So once you've made your selection of what you're going to bring, I suggest that you roll your clothes. 1, because it's a huge space saver. 2, because it tends to keep the clothes relatively wrinkle-free. And 3, once you open your bag, when you've arrived at your destination, you'll have a really good idea or a really good sight on what you've brought, because everything will be laid out and you'll be able to see very nicely. And piggybacking off of that point of multi-purpose clothing, I have 2 pieces that I really recommend you bring in your suitcase that take up very little space. The first is some kind of cloth bag. This is very useful and it can double as a dirty clothes bag or a grocery bag when you're going out shopping or even a bag at the beach. It's great, trust me. Just roll it up, shove it in your bag, and you'll thank me later when you need it. And the second one is some kind of scarf. I have one that I bought many years ago in Brazil. In Brazil, they're called cangas, and they're used really for the beach as basically a towel. But I have found throughout the years this thing to be useful for everything. It can be a kanga, it can be a beach towel, it can be a scarf, it can be a head covering if you're going into a place where modesty is recommended. It doubles as a beach dress. It covers my face when I want to sleep on the plane or the train. It's incredibly useful, and it doesn't have to be a specific Brazilian kanga, but some kind of scarf, I think, is incredibly useful. I have one more tip to keep this section short and sweet, which is while you may be traveling carry-on, very light in your luggage, I recommend wearing as much as possible on the plane, especially your bulky pieces. So this means wearing your bulkiest footwear on the plane, be it your running shoes or your hiking boots, wearing your hat, as many layers on top as you can manage to save space. And also, when you're traveling, you're going through a lot of different climates, especially within, transportation hubs. So it's nice to have layers on you because it gets really cold in the plane. You never know what kind of environment you need to be ready for. So this is a great tip for that. And a final note on cosmetics, because I know for my ladies out there, this is a really sticky point because nowadays we're limited to those stupid small Ziploc bags that they give you in the airport and the 100 milliliter liquid bottles, which is proven to be a real challenge, but I love a good challenge. I recommend taking your favorite cosmetics, buying these little 100 milliliter bottles that they sell on Amazon, transferring them to there. If you're going for a longer trip, I'm sure wherever you're going most likely will have a pharmacy and you'll be able to replenish your stock there. Or, in my case, find a very low maintenance husband and split your cosmetic bag in half and have him carry the other half. But all jokes aside, traveling light is great. It really forces you to hone down on exactly what you need so that you're not schlepping around stuff that's just taking up space. Because there's nothing worse than coming home, unpacking your bag, and realizing you didn't wear or use half the things that you brought with you. These have just been a few of my tips for traveling light over the years. I really hope that they help you out as well if you decide to venture down this path, or if you already are, maybe it helps you organize your system a little bit better, because it's wonderful traveling carry-on. You have everything that you need with you. It forces you to really think about what you pack and what you're going to need while abroad. Maybe you won't need as much as you thought. Not to mention, it frees up the waiting time of having to sit at baggage claim once your flight lands and wait for your bag to come around the belt. All of these things, I think, compound to make the traveling experience much more pleasant. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you all so much for watching today. I wish you the best of luck in your carry-on journey. Godspeed. And I'll see you back here in my next video super soon, guys. Ciao.